Hi everyone, this is Alvin Garcia with Simple Steps, and I just got back from the grocery store. And as I was shopping for what I'm going to eat this week, I've decided that I want to explore beans. I know beans have a bad rap, and in more than many ways. But beans are really loaded with nutrients. I mean, I can list all the different nutrients that are out there in beans. Let me just give you a few benefits. Number one, it's cheap. That's a great benefit. I mean, especially if you are on a budget and you're trying to stay healthy. And beans can have a bad rap. Everybody has jokes about beans, but in reality, beans are loaded with nutrients. I mean, the benefits of beans are endless to me. I think I've read and I know that beans will help you reduce heart attack and strokes. They have calcium that'll give you some healthy bones and teeth. They help with cell structure, and they also help with fiber. And fiber, of course, is good for your system as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take beans to another level, because personally, I'm tired of mom's stew, I'm tired of mom's side dish, and I want to explore week by week the versatility that beans have. So come with me into the kitchen, let's talk a little bit about beans, and who knows what we'll come up with. So here we have the different beans that I bought. Here are some chickpeas that I put in my mason jar, and I'm soaking them. And then, of course, for time-saving purposes, I have some black beans, some more garbanzo beans, and I found these beautiful pink lentils that I'm going to experiment with. And I think what's wonderful about beans, again, it's their versatility. Again, traditionally, we either put them in stews or we put them as a side dish. Or when we go to a restaurant, like say for example a Mexican restaurant, they always have refried beans, and we get our bean fix that way. However, how do you take them out from the traditional recipes that we've learned or that we've grown up with and bringing it up a notch? For example, garbanzo beans, when it was at home, my mom used to make them in a stew, or she'd make them as a side dish. Black beans, it was always black beans over white rice, like a Cuban dish with a lot of onions. Again, great, it's a great dish, but how do you bring it up a notch? And then we have lentils, either lentil soup I've had, and that's pretty much about it. So I'm challenging myself of taking things to a different level. Number one, variety is the spice of life, and you want something different. You want to taste something different, but you also want the good nutrients. Second, I have kids, and I have one kid that loves garbanzo beans, so this is going to be the recipes that I'm going to make today with garbanzo beans are going to be for him. And then little by little, we're going to explore the different beans out there and how we can bump them up a level. And I want you to join me in the kitchen. Let's experiment. And again, they're going to be simple recipes that you can make yourself and get the nutrients that you need, feel healthy about yourself, and feel good and look good, because all the vitamins and nutrients that are in beans are going to help you. So join me in the kitchen, and let's go ahead and turn off the heat. So welcome to the kitchen. So today we're going to explore in the beans series. We're going to talk about garbanzo beans, also called chickpeas. And so here's some dried garbanzo beans. You can pick them up at the grocery store. Beans are just inexpensive, and if you're looking for a really good meal, something to eat that's hearty and has all the vitamins and nutrients set aside that is filling, beans could be your friend. So basically, you have two ways of preparing your food with beans. You can either buy them in a can, or you can buy them dried and then soak them. When you soak them, the best rule of thumb is soaking them overnight, and then they'll just go ahead and pop up again. And these are almost ready. They still need a few hours, but what will happen is the beans will absorb the water, soak up, and then you're ready to rock and roll. So I'm not going to cook with these today, because what I want to do is cook with the ones that I bought in cans. Now, when I buy my beans in cans, I tend to buy them organic because that's my preference in the house. And I buy two kinds. And again, this is why I like beans a lot. This one is some chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and this one has no salt added. So if you're someone that's looking to not have so much salt and you're really careful about that, they have beans like that. And this one, of course, has some salt in it. I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to get started with two of my favorite dishes that I make at home, and as soon as I make them, they go throughout the day. So join me. So today what I want to show you is, by using garbanzo beans, how you can make a very quick finger food snack. Just like when we go to parties or we have nuts outside and we're eating them at the party, you can also make those kind of trail mix nuts using garbanzo beans. So it's really interesting. I did this, my gosh, years ago, and I was hooked. And once in a while when I get bored and I want something to chew on, but I also want a healthy snack, I go and I reach my garbanzo beans. Now, the good thing is that all you're going to do, we're going to use the cans. We're going to open up our cans and drain the garbanzo beans. Now, a lot of people say, I don't like eating beans because of the obvious. Let's just put it out on the table, the gas. And here's the trick, guys. If you rinse your beans, you are reducing the chances of having gas. If you use the liquid that comes with the beans, then your chances of having gas increase. However, here's the however. The liquid that's in there is full. It's packed with the nutrients and the vitamins from the beans. So you got to weigh things out, choose what you want. But for this recipe, we're going to rinse these chickpeas and we're going to put them on this tinfoil pan. So come with me. So I've rinsed my chickpeas, my garbanzo beans, and all I'm going to do is lay them on the cookie sheet covered with tin foil. And I'm going to call these, in dedication of my son, the Marky snack, because Marky loves chickpeas and he loves them more than I do. And so I think it's cool. So these are going to be called Marky snacks. All you're going to do is drizzle some oil. And it's fun to see him eat these because he just gets into them. And you got to put some seasoning in. I have some taco seasoning. You can use any kind, whether it's garlic salt or herb seasoning. It doesn't matter. So we're just going to put this on. We're going to drizzle it. And this is the messy part. You could do this in a bowl, and as I've gotten older, and reflection is always a good thing, using your hands helps you feel the food and see if it's ready. Now, if I wanted to taste the seasoning, very easy. Pick one up because you can eat them. A little bit more for the Marky snack. Now, my oven is set at 400. And I'm going to pop these babies in for 20 to 30 minutes. And then they're going to cool. And when they cool, they get nice and crunchy. So if you are looking for a different spin on chickpeas, I recommend this recipe. It's simple. And again, you can use any condiments, any spices that you like. So I'm going to set my timer on for 30 minutes, and when they come out, you'll see how wonderful they look. So while my Marky treats are working in the oven, the next recipe that I want to show you, the simple recipe, is how to make, as I call it, faux chicken nuggets. And if you have kids, chicken nuggets are a staple. We either make them or we buy them, and it's a constant chicken nuggets. That's all my kid eats. And that could be sometimes challenging, because like, what do I do if I want to pack in some good vitamins, some good nutrients? Well, here, using chickpeas, you can make faux chicken nuggets. So, or chick nuggets instead of chicken nuggets. So what I have is I've drained a can of chickpeas in a bowl. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a masher. You can also use a pastry masher too. When I was a little kid, garbanzo beans was on the bottom of my list to eat. And I will say this much. My mom would make some phenomenal stews with different beans. And if I didn't like the bean, the sauce itself was great. So I would eat that or put that on something. But garbanzo beans was never my favorite. Then you get older and you start meeting new people. And then hummus became wow, this is really good. And then I get tired of hummus or hummus. which is chickpeas and tahini, and it's very Middle Eastern, very Mediterranean. I got bored with that. So in order to keep healthy, I think the challenge is that you always got to look for something different. How do you take the same healthy foods out there and bump it up? Always think of what can I do to a simple recipe to make it tastier for me. If not, give me a call, email me, write me, and let's figure it out together. So I've mashed my wonderful garbanzo beans, and let me show you what they look like. Again, looks like mashed potatoes, doesn't it? I think my mother would be proud if she saw me do this. She'd be like, wow, you're eating garbanzo beans. Because she can tell you how much I hated them. Love my mom. So that's really good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in a food processor half of an onion and some parsley. I love parsley. I always buy it. Now, again, if you said, oh, I don't like parsley, put some basil. Oh, I don't like basil. What about some cilantro? Doesn't matter. That's what's wonderful about these simple recipes. You can make it your own. So my parsley and onion is done. This is an old food processor. Makes a lot of noise. I like the new ones, they hum. But this one has a special meaning because this one, my brother gave it to me when we had Danielle. So we're going to mix these two ingredients together. Looks like tabbouleh almost. And now we have our mixture. I have some cumin, I have some salt, I have some baking powder, and baking powder is going to help it puff up like a chick nugget. We have some olive oil and lemon juice. The olive oil will help us bind everything together. The lemon juice will bring out all the different flavors. It's really good. I love lemon. And we have 1 egg. I'm going to mix this here first. The egg will work as a binder when we put in the breadcrumbs. And you do need a binder. Looking good so far. Now we're going to add the breadcrumbs. Now I've chosen a panko breadcrumb. You can use Italian breadcrumbs. This panko breadcrumb is gluten-free. And again, even though in my family we're fine with gluten, I try to limit as much gluten as possible. If it were for me, still gluten-free. I try to avoid the gluten in my family and in myself. So you're just going to put a little bit at a time. Mix it around. The breadcrumbs will give it a nice little crunch. And again, it's like having a chicken nugget. What would you expect in a chicken nugget? You need a crunch. Add a little more. And add the rest. So there you have it. You see? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start molding them and shaping them into little nuggets. And then we're going to put them in on the stove with some olive oil. Or if you had a Pam spray or a spritzer, you can put them on a cookie sheet and bake them as well. So again, depending on what you like to do or how you like to prepare your food, on the stove, in the oven, they still taste great. So what I'm doing is I'm now making my little patties. You want to put some in your hand, squeeze them, and then of course pat them out a little bit and put them on the plate. I put some breadcrumbs at the bottom just to make sure that it absorbs, you know, because this will start, if it has any liquid in here, it'll start discombobulating. So my safety net, as I call it. when you're making your patties or your chicken nuggets or your chick nuggets, you want to try to make them almost all the same size, and that'll help you when you're cooking them, that they all cook at the same time. If you have these huge ones and small ones, what'll happen is they'll cook uneven, and then you're going to struggle trying to figure out when they're ready. So as a rule of thumb, try to give them the same size. I think this is a great recipe if you have kids. They can help you in the kitchen. I also think this is a great, simple recipe if you're having a small little get-together for the holidays or any special occasion. So my patties are ready. I've just put my oil on the skillet. I put it at medium-low, but I'm going to raise it to medium heat just because I was just trying to get the skillet warm enough and the oil. So the Marky treats are ready, and they're beautiful. Look at that. They're beautiful. They're going to cool down, and as they cool down, the moisture will evaporate, of course, and then they're going to get nice and crunchy. And this one, again, is taco seasoning. You can use any seasoning you want. I'm going to leave them like that because I'm going to go back to the skillet and do the chick nuggets. I love them. They smell great. So I'm almost ready. I got to figure out if they're ready or not. The breadcrumbs also come in handy just to sprinkle them in the skillet, and you can see that they are ready. Just place them there gently. You don't want to put too many in at the same time because you want to give everybody some space to cook. I've made the mistake where I try to crowd everything in, and what happens is that everything just breaks apart. And that's with anything that I use on the skillet. So while these are cooking, what would you put as a topping? With a chicken nugget, traditionally people use ketchup. You can use ketchup. If you like guacamole and you have some on hand, why not? Some guacamole would taste really good with these. So we're going to let these sit for a while. We're going to flip them over, and so they can get nice and brown, and then we'll go ahead and drain the excess in our bowl. Please. So here we have our Mark treats, and they're chickpeas that we've baked in the oven. And we've added some seasoning to it, and they are like a trail mix, like a nuts at a party. And I put them in a fancy glass just to show you how pretty they can be, and they can look self. And of course, my chickpea nuggets, and I've added some guacamole that I bought in the store. And again, I'm going to try these. It tastes like a chicken nugget, but it's not. It has that nice crunch, that nice texture inside that we associate a chicken nugget with. And the guacamole, of course, gives it an extra little zing, and they're great. You taste the parsley, the onion, everything's popping in my mouth. I guarantee you that if you make these, you will like them. Eating healthy doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be a side dish, and it definitely doesn't have to be something that you cook all the time. Join me next time when we explore another type of bean out there and how we can add wonderful flavors and create a wonderful dish, feeding our bodies nutritiously, one simple step at a time.